Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TaughtToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about profanity, and specifically I want to make a case against profanity. In today's age, profanity rules. Even on the streets, you hear unsophisticated people speaking profanity because of their inability to communicate what they feel, what they're thinking, or the lack thereof. There's an interesting quote by Spencer W Kimball, which is this: profanity is the effort of a feeble brain to express itself forcibly. Think about that. Because you lack communication skills, because you lack the vocabulary, because you lack the intelligence, you have to use profanity. You don't have the skills, the ability, the intellect to communicate your thoughts, your feelings in a way that can be understood and be even taken forcibly without profanity. And unfortunately, in today's society, it is accepted. It's even used by normal people who may have some average intelligence, but they don't speak like it. And they think it's cute, they think it's being strong, it's being bold, when all it does is make you look unintelligent. It makes you look ill-informed and ill-prepared to communicate your point. This is not about being offended by profanity. It is mere words, and you attribute certain value to them or lack of value to them, and you can be offended by them. It's not about that. It is about when you speak in such a way as to debase yourself and to show forth that you have a low vocabulary. You do not have the intelligence to speak out the ideas that you are thinking without profanity, without trying to punch them up and make them sound more forceful. That, my friends, is a lack of character. Because instead of choosing to go learn more, instead of deciding how am I going to communicate this in a way that people can understand it, you have to resort to childish profanity. Speaking in a way that lowers your character. Speaking in a way that demeans you as a human being. Making yourself look lowly and imbecilic. You may have the greatest point of view. You may have the greatest points to make. You may have a great message to communicate. But when you sprinkle in profanity, you destroy that message. You destroy that thought. And you just align yourself with the common people who cannot think, who have no point of view besides what they're told in the news or the media. And you don't look like somebody of thought, somebody of substance, somebody of character. Another thought on this is also when you use profanity, it looks like you're defensive. You don't have the point of view that is right, and you know that, so you have to resort to profanity in order to try to make your case, and hopefully people won't fight you too much and expose your weakness and expose your inability to actually make the point that you want to make, or expose that your point is completely invalid. So profanity, this is where ridicule sometimes comes in, because people don't have confidence in what they're saying. When you have confidence in what you're saying and truly believe it to be the truth, you don't have to resort to lowly measures of profanity and vain babbling. You can just speak forth that truth, and it will resonate with the people who are willing to hear it. But when you resort to profanity, you immediately demean that. And you diminish any results you might have in having people actually listen to you, which is the whole point of speaking in the first place. Why would you want to speak and communicate to people if you're only going to push them away from hearing your point and receiving it? This is one of the most deluded things about it. There are people who are intelligent, and yet they use profanity, and they immediately cut their audience in half at least. And even those that may not mind profanity still look at those people in a diminished view. And they do it for no reason, because they could communicate their points rationally and easily without having to use profanity, without having to look like somebody who is unable to communicate their points properly. My friend, I hope you will consider this and consider the ways of old, which were in many ways good. In olden times, profanity wasn't used around women and children. It was just seen as something offensive, and you were of the lowest stock you could possibly be to behave in such a manner. And today, not only do you have men using profanity around women and children with no problem, but you have women and children using profanity. It is a common problem today, and as we get more and more people, unfortunately, there tends to be more and more of this, because as more people have an audience on social media and various platforms to speak forth, but they don't really have good points and they haven't thought things through. They're not intellectuals. They're not people who have thought about the position they're taking. They're just parroting something they've heard from someone else. And so that is one of the reasons also why they have to resort to profanity, because they don't know the facts. They don't know that position well, because it's someone else's position they've adopted. It's not one that was born out of thoughtful prayer and consideration of the issues at hand. It was one they adopted from someone else who may have thought it out or maybe didn't. So my friend, I pray that you'll consider this. Consider your ways. Consider handling yourself differently. Listen, the average person uses profanity. They don't care. They don't see a problem with it. They may have levels of profanity where some they accept and some they don't. But the reality is the average person doesn't care. Why would you want to be average? Why would you want to do the things that common people do? Because the common people get common results, which is pathetic. Why would you want to be that way? And it's not demeaning those people. This is a reality. Why would you want to lessen yourself and just blend in with everybody else and be no different than anyone else? And you don't have to be. No one's making you do that. You choose to do that when you take on the habits of the common people, which is not good. Sometimes it's seen common people seen as being good because they're not the elites or whatever. But that's not the case. The common person makes the same mistakes over and over again, and you see patterns of millions of people making the same ridiculous mistakes over and over and over, never learning, never doing anything different, never even considering that there might be a different way to approach life. Why would you want to follow that? Why would you want to fall in line? Why would you want to do that? And I want to tell you something. When you rise up from being common, from being average, from being mediocre, those average, mediocre, common people around you, you'll pull them up some more. Because you'll become a person of character, and that's who people want to follow. They don't want to follow people who are average. No one follows average people. They follow people of character, people who are different, people who are unique, people who are doing things that are in a different way. And you will bring people up with you, maybe not to your level, but you will bring people up with you as you start to become a better person, a person of character, a person of substance, who's not following the trends and the ways of the world, but is doing things in a different way that is unique. And yes, there are millions of people that are doing this, but they're still rare. Out of the billions of people, you will be a rarity among hundreds of millions and billions. Because most people aren't doing this. They're not thinking this way. They're thinking living day to day. And they're thinking, well, I gotta go to this movie and this sporting event. All these things that they get caught up in thinking it's a life, and it's not. But you can be someone different who does things differently, who looks at life differently, and approaches life as if you're going to be the best you could possibly be. Whatever that may be. You're not comparing yourself to other people. You're comparing yourself with yourself. Are you better today than you were yesterday? And are you constantly building upon that progress and becoming the best person you could possibly be? Why drag yourself down? Why limit yourself to being average? You don't have to be. Every single person is unique. Even though there are people who are very similar, everyone's unique. Everyone has different experiences that make up their differences and uniquenesses about how they approach life and think about things. Why fall in line with the common group think? We're the people who go to work each day, do the same thing each day, eat the same food each day, have the same habits each day, and get the same results each day. Why not be a person of character who does things differently, who speaks in a way that is ennobling, not demeaning? Speaks in a way that when people hear you, they're benefited. They learn something. They improve just by hearing you, rather than being dragged down into the mire with you with your profanity. My friend, this is a very simple thing to do. All you got to do is decide today you're going to be a person of character, a person of substance, who when they speak has something of value to say. And it doesn't have to be cluttered up with a bunch of words. You don't have to have great swelling of words. You can have very few words, but get your point across in a forceful way if you need to, but you don't have to resort to profanity like those who don't have the intellect and haven't thought through the issues and don't care to think through the issues. You can show yourself to be somebody who does those things, who has thought through the issues, who has come to a rational conclusion and is able to communicate it well without having to get into the mud with the pigs. Now, my friend, I want to leave you with these verses of Scripture. Colossians 3:8 says this, "But now ye also put off all these, anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth." And Ephesians 4:29, which says this, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.